Hi there, I'm Shaun Bindley and this is Meet the Ministers. My guest on the program this evening is the member for Kawana, the Shadow Attorney General, Jarrod Bleijie. Jarrod, welcome.
Thanks for having me on.
And before we go any further, happy birthday.
Thank you, mate. Yes. Milestone in one's life, 30 years, so I'm looking forward to it.
Interesting time in your life, turning 30, you've been in Parliament a couple of years now. How have you found it so far?
Well, look, it's been a great experience, and certainly some of my expectations have been realised, and then some you just cannot prepare for in this job.
Have your expectations changed as a consequence of that? You think you're finding the way things actually work and what's possible and what's not possible? Are there things that aren't possible and things that will always be possible?
There's certainly frustrations, but like any job, I think there's frustrations in any job, and there's certainly, like anyone, we can go home and talk to our families and tell what a great day we had, or what a bad day or good day with some of the issues. But electorally, in Kawana, we've got some of the big issues, and it's a matter of working through those issues. Some of them are not going to be resolved overnight, and they are long campaigns. So it's a matter of sort of prioritising those and getting on with the job.
Still a learning process for you? You think you've got a handle on what it takes to be a politician now after a couple of years?
I think politicians and this job, you never stop learning. Yeah. I think those that retire and have had a great life in politics still learn about this job. And as I said, there's things that happen that you would never expect, you've never encountered. Every day in my job, whether it's going around the electorate or around Queensland, there's things happen that you just didn't expect, and great things and great people you meet on this journey. But I think we're always learning.
What prompted you to go into politics? Why politics? You had a successful career in the law. You were still young though, but you were on the way as such. Why make that change into politics?
Well, I had an interesting road into politics. My folks were never political. They liked one particular party, but they were never members of any political party. I didn't have a political hero per se. But it all started for me I was in primary school, actually, Caloundra Primary School. And just before the 1996 federal election, which was of course the election with Howard, and there was a momentum of change in Australia, and our school ran a mock election, and the principal, Don McLaughlin at the time, wanted people to participate in a school election, not for captain, not for any purpose other than experiencing the joys or sorrows of an election campaign. Yeah. So we participated, and I put my hand up and said I'd love to have a go at this, and I got a little team around me. I was only in year 7, it was 1996, and got a little team around me. We developed some little brochures and how to vote cards, and having not learnt any of this, purely only when I would go in with mum and dad to the polling booth and be handed the how to vote cards. So that's the only experience I had. Ran this little mock election in the school, had some little corflute signs made up, and won. And I guess got the political bug at that stage, which is a bit tragic.
Didn't have any problems with anybody stealing your corflutes at that early stage?
No, but it was a political contest. There was accusations flying around from other students, and there was a healthy contest. I think by memory there was about eight participants in this contest, and we then had to be elected by our peers, and the speech, the campaign that went for a couple of weeks. So it was a great experience, but for me, learning, because I'd never really participated in anything political before, and did this in '96 and enjoyed it so much, and continued on through high school as well, as much involved as much as I could.
So what was the result?
Well, I won. The result was positive for me. It was, and I can remember, and I still have the signs and the corflutes I made up. I still have those at home, and they're not the type of corflutes you'd have politically now, with bright stars and fluoro stars and fluorescent on it. But I had a slogan: "Be smart, be safe, be sure, vote Jarrod." And still remember that slogan some years later.
So it was sort of in the back of your mind from that stage onwards?
It has. I got the interest, and then I took more of a broad interest in politics generally, both locally, at a state level and at a federal level. Then went to Caloundra High and had opportunities in Caloundra High. And I look at my education and where I am now, and went off and studied law and then got into politics. I look at the opportunities that Caloundra High gave me, a good state school on the Sunshine Coast, and I have all thanks to give to the state system for allowing me the opportunities to go and do what I wanted to do. And that was getting involved in the student representative bodies and the school council, and then becoming captain in high school. And so it was that experience and the principal's leverage to go out in the community as captains and lead your school that led to a greater ambition to get involved in politics.
Do you remember that time when you realised that this ambition was becoming realised? That a career in real politics lay ahead of you?
I never thought or wondered whether I would end up in politics. I always had an ambition.
There's no question about it? It was always going to happen?
No, I had an ambition, but there's no job description in this job. There's no, at school they were teaching us about, a computer system that you could enter some details and it would spit out, you'd be a good cleaner, you'd be a good teacher.
Guidance counselling sort of
Guidance counselling. Nothing ever in my computer spat out said you'd make a great politician. It's not that system. It's because politics is such a broad spectrum of people and from backgrounds, from many different diverse backgrounds. So there's no one good fit for a politician. So I had ambition and I had the wish to do it, but I just didn't know if the opportunity would ever arise. I just knew that, throughout high school, I just made sure that I just participated in as much as I could, and eventually I would have loved to. I had the ambition to, and the want to get into politics.
Mm-hmm. Growing up in Queensland, we always have idols: Wally Lewis, Greg Chappell, Alan Border. You have a political idol?
No, I didn't have any sort of young political. When I was a young fellow, I didn't have any political idols. As I said, the 1996 election with John Howard, and I can remember the slogan about Howard's battlers. So if there was any one person that I would say got me keenly interested, it would have been the 1996 election with John Howard, because there was just a wave of support and the Howard battlers and just the momentum behind that campaign. And that's at the same time, as I said, ran the little campaign in the school and got the bug that way.
You still take anything with you from those early years?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I can remember in high school not being satisfied with I think this was in year 9 or 10, not being satisfied with the student representative system we had. So I approached the principal and I came up with a new system of the a Congress in the school, similar to the American system, because I was gaining an interest in politics around the world. So I convinced the principal said to me, Jarrod, like the idea, want to support you, but what you've got to do is do a brief and sell it to your peers. So I went about and researched, and we had, of course, a typewriter, so I typed up this system of governance, how I thought would operate well in year 9, and we implemented it and got the support and implemented it. Changed a couple of years later after the new leaders came in particular Congress, but it was a change that I thought was good at the time.
You're watching Meet the Ministers. My name is Shaun Bindley, and we'll be back after the break.